Yeah, I don't know if I think mine's going through, but I don't think I've got you guys going through.
That might be a blessing for the viewers. That might be a blessing for the viewers.
Oh wow, there's Jeff. Oh wow, all right. I'm turning it off now because it's happening for all of us. All right, I'm turning.
Yep.
So the audio is working. It just was briefly one of those nightmare shows starting.
Okay, perfect.
Tonight on Horror Theater.
Alrighty. So last time we played, you guys had met up with Pythor again. Had some family drama there. Met up with your with the dwarf that you had hired to escort you to the Mithril mines. While you were in Astoria, you also stopped by and spoke with Volcan, who let you know that if you get the forge operational, to let him know, and he would make his way there.
Ooh. And don't forget how we wiped out all the Centaur army across the river, right?
Totes.
Yes, if by wiping out you mean snuck around.
They pose no threat to our mighty party.
So yes, you did scout and sneak past the Centaur army massed on the banks of the river across from Astoria. They number probably in the thousands.
I like to use the term skirting.
Yes. But on your way to the mines, you did meet a much smaller band of centaurs who do not seem associated with the army, who invited you to stay with them at their camp. They let you know that some of their they were out searching for some lost members of their tribe, and should you find them, they think that they may have gone into the mines or been taken into the mines, but they're not comfortable going in. But they gave you a hunting horn and said, if you find them, then sound the horn at the banks and we will meet with you. So yeah, they seem to be of a very different mindset than the centaurs that are loyal to Sidon.
Funny how that works.
Other than that, I think what else happened last game that was of import. You did clue in that Volcan is Pythor's father and thus Sophia's grandfather. He seems to be a fairly irascible sort of dwarf.
Deacon got a cool weapon from a vineyard guy.
Yes, you did meet up with Corinna's father, who gifted Deacon with a javelin that he had carried in one of the Arisian campaigns. That is in fact a javelin of lightning that can be thrown and turns into a bolt of lightning when it's launched.
That's going to be lovely to have.
And I totally have the horn. It's awesome.
Yes, and you guys did. Oh, you did drink from the horn of Balmitra. You had a vision and kind of knocked you on your ass for about 8 hours. But you did see a vision. All of you had the same vision of standing on the bow of a ship crewed by the dead. And a little bit of asking around identified the ship as the Ultros, the legendary ship of the Dragonlords. Kind of, it is to the Dragonlords what the Argos is to Jason, that sort of thing.
Do you remember when Theseus had ships?
Well, which ship is the question?
Exactly.
So you guys spend a night with this Centaur tribe, with their leader Hukar, who they seem to be a fairly jovial bunch. You can tell like there's a sense of purpose. You know, they're definitely feeling the loss of their tribe members that they're searching for. But at the same time, they seem quite happy to have new people to share stories with around the fire, and new people to partake in the food that they've hunted. They're very, very welcoming. And they seem to worship Thylia more than Sidon. They seem more closely attuned to nature as opposed to the storms and other elements.
Excellent.
And it's a very peaceful evening under the stars.
I will sing the centaurs a song.
Excellent. They are very appreciative. They've never had a siren sing for them before. And they reciprocate by telling some tales of their people and stories that they have heard, and eventually it does come around to the story of the curse on the mines. So Hukar kind of gathers everybody around, and you know some of them have like heard this story dozens of times, but they're listening more out of politeness. I'm going to tell you that during the war, the Mithril Forge produced the weapons for the Dragonlords. Produced the weapons that they used in the fight against the Titans. Dwarves came from across the seas who had come with the Dragonlords and discovered mithril and adamantine in the central mountain range, and mined it and used it to forge legendary items, magic artifacts, things far more powerful than mere mortal weapons. But as a result, Lutheria decided that something had to be done. So she formed a pact with the Fates and used their magic to breed a what is referred to as a Cerberus, a three-headed guard dog. And she unleashed it into the mines to destroy the forge and slaughter the dwarves. After the dwarves, what remained of them, escaped, they collapsed the tunnel behind them. The Dragonlords tried several times to retake the forge, but were repeatedly driven back. And then the story goes that the Hound still patrols the mines. And that is the curse that is laid upon it, is this undying, infernal guard dog that kills all who dare trespass.
I sharpen my weapons.
At which point Hugar kind of like clasps the shoulder of whoever's next to him and says, like, sounds like a good job for heroes. And then there's like a round of kind of good-natured chuckling.
Indeed.
I look at our centaur. You're a druid, right? You're good with animals. This should be fine.
I think we're going to might need to rely more on my good with animals.
I'm more concerned right now about the mention of the Troglodytes and helping to save these people.
Yeah,
Pet dog.
the Troglodytes have, for whatever reason, made their home in the upper levels. I don't know whether they have made a deal with the Hound or whether they are beneath the Hound's notice, but they are definitely a scourge upon the lands.
Fate has a way of making sure that we'll encounter all the threats.
Maybe we'll just get lucky and the dog will have died of boredom.
Yeah,
I don't
perhaps.
think it works that way.
Well, fortune favors the bold in more than one way.
Right. So, the evening night passes. You guys get up in the morning. It is a beautiful late spring day. The sun is shining. By the time you guys rouse, the centaurs are already packing up. They're very used to being early risers. They do kind of like clasp arms with each of you and wish you luck. They are going to continue searching for their lost people just in case. But they will make sure that they stay within hearing distance of the horn should you sound it.
Absolutely.
So you guys continue along. The dwarf continues to lead you, kind of following the path that his uncle had told him about, until you come to a rocky kind of lookout over the Great Falls of Archelon. The falls are vast. It's like it looks almost to the point to your relatively inexperienced eyes that the entire ocean is basically spilling over the edge of this promontory. It is a
this way.
tremendous amount of water. The sound is deafening. The spray is bracing, but it's very beautiful to overlook. You can see to the south from where you are. You see the river kind of snaking down the mountains through the old woods. To the west, you see the snow caps of the Mithril Mountains. And where the waterfall kind of pools into a lake at the bottom, surrounding that you see these 4 massive statues of stone hands that are like jutting up from the earth. Basically 2 on each side. And even from where you are kind of up and looking down, you can tell that these things are probably 20 feet tall, each of these hand statues.
Wow.
Is this supposed to be our entrance?
And somebody can give me a history check.
I think that's Deacon, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to.
So Deacon, you know these hand statues, they're called the Hands of Kentamane. Kentamane the Hundred-Handed, one of the Titans. And there are statues like this throughout the world. The legends that you've heard are that Kentamane lays asleep beneath the earth, but since he is the Hundred-Handed one, he's so massive that his hands, the earth cannot contain all of them. So his hands jut up in places.
Cool.
And other than that,
And terrifying at the same time.
and there's a wooded path that kind of descends down to where you can see the collapsed entrance to the mine, and then the pathway continues past that.
Do we want to try following the pathway?
Probably safer.
Seems the way.
I imagine it would be an easier climb.
I'll take lead.
So this ledge kind of leads from the riverbank, passes through a short tunnel, which kind of deflects part of the cascade, and then it kind of grows narrower and narrower, stretching for about a quarter mile along a sheer cliff of just slick black rock. As you make your way around, there is a curtain of like mist that kind of surrounds your vision, and the water like drowns out like all sound. The path eventually leads under the waterfall. You guys are like covered in spray.
So blind and deaf then.
Man, this is not good
and
for my
moist.
leather.
It is very, very moist. And as you kind of make your way down this path, you can see on the riverbank 4 bluish skinned, filthy looking humanoids, kind of pulling a net from the lake up onto the shore. And even from here, especially for Sophia, the stench is strong. It smells like rotten meat and rotten fish and shit and
Oh, so Saturday night in Woodstock.
Nasty.
and as you watch,
Very
they
nasty.
they bring their netted catch up onto the shore, kind of like shoulder between them, and then they start continuing to follow the path. And then they kind of duck into what looks like a little, from where you are, looks like a little nook, but you don't see them emerge anywhere.
They seem to have any weapons.
They had like very crudely made spears
And a net.
and a net filled with fish.
Follow the, I'm guessing, troglodytes.
And a stench for the ages.
Mm-hmm. That is definitely a stench for the ages.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived amongst the fishes, and that stinks worse than anything I've ever smelled.
This is probably the point in time when I'm happy that a human has non-enhanced senses.
Oh, yeah, be very thankful for that right now. They are. How can they smell so bad when they spend time with water?
Yeah, leave fish out in the sun long enough and then put it back in the water and take it back out. It's still going to stink.
True. Oof.
You ever walked a beach at low tide? Cause, yeah.
Have you ever been in Southend St. John during low tide and fish season?
There is that.
Wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of a grotto past in where they're going.
Yeah, they definitely looked like there was some sort of passageway or something.
Yeah, they're going in for certain.
I would expect them to live in a damp water mud environment. That would be my guess.
Well,
Chris, the nook that
Yep.
they went into, is that sort of part of the way to the entrance, or do we have to go past it to go to the entrance?
No, it is past the entrance.
Okay.
Just getting a map ready here.
Well, I'd say we should probably go in by the main entrance, but prepare to be set upon, because I suspect they have a quick and easy hidden way into their warrens.
Yep, let's go fuck up some troglodytes.
It is what we do. We're heroes, right?
Yes, heroes. That's what we are.
Most of the time
you
you don't.
sound so convinced.
Most of the time you sound a lot more convinced than that.
I'm totally convinced that we are heroes.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, as long as it keeps getting me free drinks and free food.
So as you pass by the collapsed mine entrance, it is definitely sealed shut. There's no way that you're getting through that without like a very large work crew and significant time. But as you follow the pathway along, you come to the little nook that you saw the troglodytes enter into. And it goes in a little bit and then kind of narrows into a tunnel and then opens up into an actual cave.
But that stinks too.
The stench in here is strong. The kind of a natural tunnel that runs for like a good 50 or 60 feet at a slight incline. The floor is very wet. There's moss growing on the walls and the ceiling. You can tell though, like the floor is very well used. There's no moss or anything growing, and it is covered in tracks.
Well, it looks like that's our path.
Very well. I'll lead.
I'm gonna throw a bardic inspiration at Deacon before we even get into anything.
Okay.
Nothing like adding up to 6.
So yeah, so you get a d6 on an attack or a skill roll sometime in the next 10 minutes.
Nice, great.
So yeah, so as Deacon...
I'll lead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll lead with shield up and spear.
Okay, so kind of on the alert, as it were.
Oh, hells yeah.
So the tunnel goes in and then it forks. To your left, you can see that there's a network of natural caves with a terrible, terrible stench coming from that direction, along with echoing shrieks of pain and horror. And to the right, the tunnel turns into actual worked stonework.
Should we stop the shrieking first?
Yeah, I think that's where we're going to find what we're looking for. The centaurs.
Like to.
Oh no, Sonya was briefly eaten by the rock.
I was. I don't know why.
All right, so we're heading to the left.
Sounds like it's our course.
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Whatever that shrieking is coming from, it'd be nice to make it stop.
Agri's casting Produce Flame, and he'll just keep it active in his hand.
Okay. I will get Deacon and Agri to give me perception checks.
Okay.
Right. So as you guys are making your way with Deacon in the lead and Agri just behind him, Deacon walks by, but Agri, the flame from your Produce Flame, pulls out some discoloration on some of the rocks.
Deacon, stop.
I stop.
And I'll, as stealthily as Agri can make this, gesture over towards the rock.
And I look over at the rock. What do I see?
You see the rock moving and shifting ever so slightly as the troglodyte emerges from stealth. But Agri was perceptive enough to notice it, and then you also see 3 more, and their coloration changes as they step away from the wall.
Chameleons.
That's neat.
Yep.
And that will bring us to initiative, since they do not have surprise.
Boy, my continuation of initiative rolls just...
Ouch! Holy
Oh.
cow!
Yeah.
Sorry, Deacon. Normally I've rolled before you, so it doesn't seem as bad.
Now, why did it highlight the 2 in red?
It means that you rolled a 1.
Crit fail.
Oh boy.
You're fucked.
So, nothing to see here.
All right. So one of them will lunge out of the wall towards Arathius.
Not the face. Actually, yeah, the face, I guess.
So the bite misses, but it does strike home with 2 claws for a total of 9 damage.
You.
What a dick.
And the other one is going to lunge at Agri.
I'm totally taking a reaction action once they're done rolling.
What's Agri's
Ow.
AC? So it's going to be...
14.
Yeah, so one claw kind of rakes you across the chest, and then the other one like follows up and just drags these raggedy claws through the same wound, opening it even wider for a total of 16 damage.
Owie.
Okay, Arathius, you said you had a reaction?
Yeah, Hellish Rebuke.
Okay. That is a dex save.
Yep.
He is going to take half damage.
Alas, half of 21.
So he lashes out at you, and you just instinctively set off this burst of black flame, and he reels back, very, very badly burned. You can see like his skin like instantly blackens and flakes off. He's definitely feeling that. That will bring us to Agri.
All right. Well, let me. Should I have done a concentration for my produce flame?
Yes.
Crud. Okay. How do I do a concentration check, Chris?
It's a Constitution save. Okay, you're good.
All right.
Yeah, the DC is 10 or half of the damage, whichever is higher.
Cool. So I'm gonna take that nice little flame I have and chuck it at the nearby.
Okay. That will hit. The one that raked you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the flame impacts his body. It leaves like a very ugly red mark across his like grayish skin.
And activating rage.
Okay. So yeah, so if you go to
That's already showing active for me.
is it? Okay. Sophia is up.
Sophia is going to, since it's hard to get a good clear line of sight here, she's going to cast Sacred Flame
Okay.
at the one back here in the corner.
The one in the spotlight, about to lose it to your religion.
That would be the one. Four.
It is nimble enough to get out of the way. It apparently does not want any more flames.
I don't blame it.
That will take us to Helena.
Helena is just gonna call it an ugly motherfucker in vicious mockery.
Oof.
And it's apparently used to being called an ugly motherfucker.
It's a troglodyte.
It's been called worse.
Oh, probably by his mother.
You're an ugly motherfucker. Yeah, thank you.
How did you know I had relations with my mother?
Just guessing.
Your awareness astounds me.
Right. The one down that pulled itself off the wall near Deacon is going to come in with the bite, but you get the shield up. The claw rakes across your armor to no effect, but then it digs the other claw underneath your armor for 4 points of damage.
Okey-doke.
These things seem to not be very skillful, but they do kind of come at you with just like a fury of teeth and claws.
Well, they do make up for it with 3 attacks.
Arathius.
Well, I guess I'm gonna hope to finish my friend off with Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
Ugh, probably not.
A 9 is a miss because you're disadvantaged because of he's in melee with you.
Yeah.
So
I was
yeah.
like, probably not.
So yeah, you reach out with your Eldritch Blast and he just kind of knocks your arm aside at the last moment.
Oh, dude, I was probably just gonna paint the wall anyway. Thanks, though. Oh, dude.
That one does sink its teeth into Deacon. Rips a chunk of flesh off of like your shoulder. You feel the blood kind of oozing through your armor for 5 points of damage.
Ouch.
But Deacon is up.
Okie dokie. I am going to use a feature. I might as well. I think we need it. So I am going to use my Phalanx shield wall ability. I'm going to activate it for a minute.
Okay.
So me and every ally who can see or hear me gains +2 armor class as long as they're standing within 5 feet of an ally who is using a shield. And additionally, all allies wielding shields gain an additional +1 AC from their own shields. This does include me.
Excellent. So yeah, everybody is positioned properly. So Sophia can protect Helena, and Agri or you can protect Arathius.
Exactly. So that was a bonus action. So I can still take an attack.
Yes.
Okay, so the one that's on the left-hand side of the map to me, I will stab him with my spear.
Okay.
And I will use the D6 as well.
Okay. You don't have to declare that until after you make the roll. So.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Yep.
Well, unless you're going to tell me that it hits, I'm going to use the D6.
9 is a miss. Not by a lot, but it's still a miss.
I will throw the D6 then. Of course.
10 is still a miss. So yes, as you guys have made your way into these troglodyte caves, unbeknownst to you, troglodytes are very skilled at camouflage, and it was just by sheer luck that Agri managed to catch the reflection of one's with this produced flame as they pulled themselves along off the walls with just like this flurry of teeth and claws and stench. It is absolutely abysmally smelling. I will note, just for Helena, because you are close enough, Agri took a crit, which I believe lets you add a verse to your epic poem.
It does. I'm high enough to do that now.
Ah, the troglodyte. The wounded troglodyte. You know what? He is going to try to run. He's been badly burned by arcane magic, and he is not smart. So Arathius and Deacon both get an attack of opportunity at him, should you so choose.
Would that negate my own time?
No, it's a reaction, so you get one reaction around.
Absolutely.
Oof. Actually, as he kind of like turns to run away from this arcane magic user, Arathius just basically brings the staff down on his head and crushes his skull.
No, you're not escaping your fate this day.
Excellent.
That works.
This one up here with Agri. Oh, centaurs taste good.
Nom nom nom.
They do, unfortunately.
That's going to be 3 hits, even with the shield bonus, but that's going to be 2 and 2 and 2.
So, question. I have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing while I'm raging.
Yep. It was 5/5/5, so it becomes 2/2/2.
Cool. Alright.
Because it rounds down.
Yay! 1 hit point remaining.
Oof. Agri is up.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to Chris, I can't remember what we decided on for monsters. Do I have anything that's medium size? It's not the brown bear that would squish everybody in the party?
Brown bear is large. Dire wolf, I believe, is medium.
Cool. So Agri is going to transform into a dire wolf because, you know, I can heal myself that way.
Just double check. Actually, dire wolf is large as well.
Oh no. Okay.
Most of the good combat forms are large.
All right. Well,
Do you have like honey badger?
all right. I'm just going to do the obvious then. And heal myself.
Plan attack is the plan attack.
Okay. So you'd have to drop your rage to cast the spell.
Yeah. How good would dropping rage do for you?
About the same. You know what? No. Can I take that back, Chris?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna wail on this guy.
Okay. Right. So yeah, you kind of rear back and you bring that scimitar down and you carve like partway through his shoulder into his ribcage. He is bleeding profusely. You almost drop him to his knees, but then he just kind of looks up at you and kind of licks his lips.
Excellent.
Sophia is up.
Sophia is going to push her way past Helena.
I don't think there's
So
any
that
really.
Can she get past? Because Helena's really tiny.
Yep.
Yeah, Helena, if I don't have my wings spread, I'm only 4 feet. Nothing.
Allies have to like deliberately try and stop you from moving.
So to get within touching distance of Agri, and once I'm there, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on him.
Okay.
Because
Feel that
he is
hind quarter.
He's looking all kinds of messed up. That's just not right.
Yeah, that's Arathius's look.
Yeah.
Stop stealing my shtick.
Ooh, it's a great
Have
roll.
10. Yeah, couldn't really have gotten much better.
So yeah, so Sophia reaches out, and Agri, you feel that surge of healing energy through you.
Excellent.
Hear a few muttered words behind you.
Language.
And that
I
will,
don't understand that one.
that will bring us to Helena.
All right. Since Sophia healed Egri, which is what I was gonna do, I am just gonna yell at the Troglodytes some more and hope I find some better insults.
Fair enough.
He could have probably used some more healing, but
Hey,
this Troglodyte's dumber.
He is, and he just kind of looks at you, and he gets this look of like terror on his face, and then the grievous wound that Agri inflicted upon him. As he turns to look at you, he wrenches something, and then he just falls.
Yay!
I killed him with insults. Woohoo!
The most mild of insults sometimes
Yeah.
can be fatal.
Your
You're
mother was
dumb
a-
and ugly.
Your mother was a clean, upstanding citizen.
Which probably is a huge insult to
I can just see Helena just like, no, I mean it. You're really ugly. What?
Even with the shield wall, the Troglodyte is still going to sink its fangs into Deacon for 5 points of damage.
Reaction spear.
You don't get to react to its attacking you, just if it moves away. That will bring us to Arathius, who currently has no enemies around him.
Yes. Which one of those two looks more grievously injured?
Neither.
All right. Well, I'll just target the one that's, a straight line in front of me.
Okay.
May the fate that you have earned darken your blood and curdle your soul. I lost track of what I was going for.
And yes, and the black flames.
Whoops! Ignore the 8-4.
Yeah, but the first one is definitely a hit for 8 damage.
I went to click to expand it to see what the roll was, and apparently there was a plus there.
Gotcha. So your Eldritch Blast does find purchase on that Troglodyte. It gets wreathed in black flame momentarily. This one. Ooh. That one is going to bring its claws down through Deacon raggedly and tear him for 10.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. How long does his shielding
Lasts for a minute. That will bring us to Deacon.
Just a flesh wound.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
I
there's
will.
not much flesh left over that wound.
True. I will spear the one that's directly in front of me.
Okay. Alright, so yeah, you get some purchase and you jab that spear deep into it, like very clean through and through, and then you pull it out along with a torrent of blood. it's looking very, very badly wounded.
Somebody sneeze on these two.
That will bring us back around to Agri.
Yeah, I'm moving to, as Deacon mentioned, sneeze on one of them.
Okay.
Did someone call for sneezing?
And attacking the one below me.
Okay.
Give him the horse sneeze.
Nay.
Uh-oh.
That was terrible.
You missed only because of that pun.
Uh-oh.
That will bring us to Sophia.
I'll accept the price of bad good humor.
Josh, have you been waiting like since the game session 1 to use that one?
Session 0.
Oh, good God. So which one of the two was really hurt? The northwest or southeast?
Both of them. One of them got like just bathed in this like eldritch black flame, and the other one got a spear through his important bits.
That sounds uncomfortable. So the one in the northwest, which is one Sophia can see easier. Actually, I'll move up so I can see them both. Yeah, the northwest one. There we go.
Okay.
Is the one I'm going to cast Sacred Flame on. Flame on.
He will not save.
You can
Johnny
take 5
Storm
damage.
is
then.
usually the only good part of those movies.
So yes. So as you reach out and you call out a prayer to Valis, the divine light just kind of shines on him momentarily, and you can see his skin like kind of buckle and burn. Although oddly enough, no smell, no smoke, no actual fire, and then he just drops.
This divine light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Oh.
All right, Helena.
I look at the other one, and again, I vicious mockery, and I go, "Listen, all your friends are dead. Why don't you just fucking die already?"
Yeah.
Nah! And he won't just die already.
No,
You've just
he's
turned him into the Emperor Palpatine. He will never die now.
I tried. Your turn.
Back around to Arathius.
Well, I'm sure you don't have to guess what I'm gonna do to him.
Warlock special.
It's a Warlock special. Oh. My heart's not in it.
All right. He is miraculously still alive. And he's going to try to book it down the hallway. Agri and Deacon can both get an attack of opportunity at him. So yeah, so he takes like a step or two, and then Deacon just kind of catches him with the spear and drives him to the ground.
All your friends are dead. Why don't you just die? Nah. But now that you point it out, yeah, I am the only guy left here.
You're not going anywhere. How?
Deacon's just like, and I think not. That was great.
Hey, Deacon, do you want my healing potion?
Oh, I would love that. But I have my own first.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great roll on the healing.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, apparently because I can't do anything else. So I'm at 17 of 30.
So yes, you pop off the cork, and it smells faintly of like strawberries. And then
Refreshing strawberries. How do I remove that from my sheet, Chris?
if you right click You should get a remove or delete item.
Got it.
So yes, a little bit battered and bruised. As Deacon drinks his potion, though, you can see like some of his more egregious wounds start to close up.
Yeah, I'm only half dead now.
Yeah, you're both only half dead now. You're both only half dead.
If we want to sit for a minute, I can sing a song.
It's probably for the best, because I'm more than willing to give up my potion, but you're both pretty beat up.
I can help as well.
Agri drops his rage.
Thanks to Sophia's healing, does not drop as well.
I can do a prayer of healing as long as we're staying still for 10 minutes or so.
And while you're praying, I will sing a song and do Song of Rest.
So Sophia will take a seat, get comfortable.
I will stay with my shield towards the darkness and spear pointed while the others do what they need to do.
Arathius will be keeping an eye out with his vision of darkness.
So if you guys use your hit die, you get an extra d6.
Are we actually doing like a short rest here?
Just remember, short rest is an hour.
Yeah.
Ooh, look, 3 injured people. His prayer of healing's up to 6 people. That's very nice.
Yep. Should be able to get everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Have 18.
So that means we all gain 18 hit points?
Yes.
And now I can't cast anything except cantrips until we sleep.
Well, holy crap, thank you, though.
But your cantrips are good, too.
Welcome. My cantrips are, handy. But...
I wish I had 35 hit points to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, well, we'll do. I'm just happy to help.
You still have one second level and 3 first level slots left.
I thought I could only cast 3 a day.
No, you can cast up to 4 first level and up to 2 second level.
Uh-huh. Never mind.
Everybody mambo!
Right. So I'm going to assume that you guys move back out of this open hallway while you take your 10 minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, rather than possibly be approached by multiple angles, yeah.
Okay.
Retreat a little bit. Retreat a bit. Just a bit.
Right.
It's not a retreat, it's a strategic withdrawal.
Right.
Braves and Robin.
So there's room for the centaur.
Gotcha. All right, and since Arathius and Deacon were keeping watch, give me each of you can give me a perception check.
I didn't say I was going to have a good one. My rolling is consistent tonight.
Yeah, same here.
You still got a ways to go to match our Shadow of the Demon Lord record. So.
Oh God.
Hey Chris, can we just pretend? We just pretend we're playing Conan.
Let's pretend we're playing Torg. Just quit.
Yeah. So during that 10 minutes while Sophia is channeling Valis and you guys can feel the healing energy circling around, nothing comes to disturb you, and neither of your watchouts notice any movement.
Well, that wasn't ominous.
Ominous.
I did watch I watched a video there that they said part of the key to being a good player is listening to the phrasing the game master uses.
But what if you always sound malevolent?
Things like, if you get attacked by a monster and the game master's like, oh, it only hits you for 20 points of damage, that means that the game master rolled really low, and you should keep that in mind.
Yeah, that was on the low range.
Yeah, but reverse psychology would never happen now, would it?
Never. But yes, during your time there, kind of taking a short little breather, nothing comes across you. You can still hear the kind of the muffled cries for help that seem to be getting weaker and weaker. And Sophia, over the stench, you can smell cooking meat.
You,
Do you mention this,
Once
Sophia?
she's done her prayers, when she stands up, she sort of looks around and says, "Does anyone else smell meat cooking?"
Shit.
No,
No,
but I think we should hurry along.
There are more of
hopefully
them down
it
here.
smell like force.
Now that
Just
he
kind of do a careful little sniff around Aggie or Agri.
Yeah, no.
Does he smell a bit like cooked horse?
no, he doesn't.
Oh, excellent.
Only if you set him on fire.
I try
smell.
not to.
We'll just set we'll just set Avery on fire. We'll see if it's the same smell.
No, it's not him.
All right, let's go fuck up some more troglodytes.
Sophia's gonna kind of squeeze past. Can I tell which direction the smell seems to be stronger?
Yes, definitely down to the left. Down to the natural caverns as opposed to the work caves.
So there's more of them to the south. Or at least someone's cooking.
All right, well, let's go interrupt their feast.
So as you make your way down, you do see that the area is littered with straw mats along the kind of the walls. Every once in a while, you crunch on some bones. Some of them animal, some of them more humanoid. This is definitely like a lair, and the stench is almost overpoweringly strong. And Deacon, as you kind of like make your way and you kind of look down that little hallway there, you see there's a natural stair that descends into a cavern lit by a flickering fire of a roasting pit. There's a partially burnt body of a centaur on a spit over the pit. Across the room, you do see like a little a cell made out of some sort of like grayish lumber that is currently holding a centaur that is kind of being poked and prodded by several of those lizard people. And that seems to be where the cries of pain are coming from. And give me a perception check.
Nope, oblivious.
So you do see there is a centaur on a spit being like roasted over the fire, and there's another live centaur in a cage being like poked and prodded by 3 of the troglodytes. They do not seem to have noticed you.
Okay, so let me see here. What's my move? Alrighty. How big are the squares, Chris?
5 feet.
I should easily be able to get there in front of all three of them. And then, right in the middle, I'm gonna like try to skewer him into non-existence.
All right, so you run up and you skewer him mightily. Still alive, barely. And the centaur in the back kind of like takes a step back, kind of like looks at you like his kind of like beaten face, like kind of gasps for a second. All right.
Take that, vermin.
What we'll do, we'll go into initiative, but because they are technically surprised, they won't get to act on their first turn.
Cool. Wow, that has a 1 in front of it. How did that happen?
All right.
Well, shit, I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
Good thing there's plenty of targets.
Good thing.
Nobody expects a 22.
No.
So yeah, Helena, you just see Deacon like basically kind of sneak up to that corner and then just like dart around to the inside, and you hear but more troglodyte.
The one on the pit, the centaur that's being roasted is definitely dead.
Make a
Like,
perception
dead?
check.
Okay.
You're not sure.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna get closer and check it then.
Act like they're alive.
Yeah, I'm getting closer to check if it's alive.
As you when you get like right up to it, you can see that its eyes are fluttering.
Okay. I am gonna use my action to try and maneuver this centaur off the pit.
Okay. Give me an athletics check.
This is not gonna go well, but I'm gonna try anyway.
Put your wings into
Oh shit!
It's like one of those things where the mom lifts the car off the baby sort of thing.
Yeah. You just see Helena, this like tiny little thing with wings, and she lifts the fucking centaur and pulls him off the pit. And that's my action for the time being.
Is perhaps the dice gods have decided, since we suck so bad in the last one, it's going to help us out.
It's because I'm
Just
trying to
hoping.
save people instead of just calling them names.
I agree.
All right. Well, I'm going to move up and basically go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yay, 40 movement speed. And I'm going to produce flame at the one nearest. So whatever, the one on the left of the top 3.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Woo!
So yeah, so the flame splashes over it, burning it very, very severely. Troglodyte Brute was surprised. Arathius. Everybody is just rushing through past you in a flurry of activity.
Well, damn.
I think you might also have the horn.
Yeah, but that's on the bank.
Oh, okay.
I do have the horn, but they stay on the bank. That one on his own on the back side, I'm gonna give him a warlock special.
The one down at the bottom, or?
Yeah, the one on his own.
Yeah. Yeah, he does look substantially bigger than the other one.
Yeah.
Still a hit, though. So yeah, so the Eldritch Blast like lashes out at him and kind of wraps around him, and he writhes in pain and then focuses his glare upon you.
The fates have sent me to claim your soul. See, now I'm feeling it again.
Sophia.
Yes. Way back there, all alone. I'm going to move up to there and take a swing at that one. I'm going to give it a shot with Pythor's hammer. We'll see how well that does. 18.
Right, so you come charging in, and the hammer practically glows in your hand as you swing it and bring it down into the skull of this troglodyte. Not enough to drop it, but it stumbles backwards and is kind of like leaning up against the cage holding the centaur. And you're pretty sure if it wasn't for that cage right there, you would have knocked it to its knees. Deacon.
I yell to the centaur in the cage, "You've got one, kill it."
Okay.
And then I stab the one that is on my right.
Oof. So
Hey Chris, how's that for spread of damage? Is like a good opportunity to use Piercer here or not?
trying to remember what your piercer feat does. I think it lets you reroll the damage, right?
Yes.
So you rolled a 2 on the d6.
I will use my Piercer. Now.
Just do /R space 1d6 in the chat in Foundry.
This didn't go so well the last time. Much better.
There you go. So that'd be 12 damage. So yeah, you could like just run that one through.
No, it was the other one on the right.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, I wanted to hit one of the undamaged ones to put some love on them.
Okay, gotcha. Right. So yeah, so you just run him through with the spear, and he like drops, kind of like breathes heavily. And then like fixes his glare upon you, but you can see the blood from your spear wound is continuing to pump out of his body.
Merc.
The centaur. So the one that Sophia like knocked up against the cell, the centaur just kind of rears back and brings those hooves down on it. And kind of like crushes it between its body weight and Sophia. That will bring us back around to Helena. Obviously, these guys are now aware of your presence and are no longer surprised.
Yeah, that's cool. So the centaur that I got off the pit, I'm singing something soft and comforting to it, and I'm gonna cure wounds to bring it back up a little bit.
Alrighty.
That's charm person. Sorry, wrong spell.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. So just enough to bring it back from the brink of death.
Yep.
So yeah, just kind of cradling his head and singing softly and comfortingly.
Okay. And as you do, you can see his breathing becomes more regular. Some of the worst burn marks start to fade. His eyes kind of flutter open.
Yeah.
That will bring us to Agri.
I'm going to go ahead and cast another Produce Flame, but this time at the middle one.
Okay.
Damage is damage, right?
Damage on target is damage
Wow.
on target. The bigger one though, it sees Sophia, and it kind of makes the connection of like, healer. And is going to come forward with its bite and claws. Those are some pretty significant hits.
Ouch.
That's bad, yeah.
That is going to be a total of 20 damage on Helena.
On Helena?
Yes. Yep.
I thought he said Sophia.
Nope.
Yeah. He did see Sophia, but he can't get to her.
Ah.
Oh, he attacked the one that's kneeling, singing to the centaur instead.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, although actually, honestly though, I think based on how things would have worked, Helena would have had to push the centaur towards the back of the cave part and would probably be over there.
Well, she just pulled him off the pit, so he would be...
No, I literally lifted him up and pulled him towards me.
She's like kneeling over him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine, it's cool. I'm not dead yet. I'm hurt, but I'm not dead yet.
Okay, good.
Okay, Arathius.
How dare you, sir? How dare you hurt my companion? The fates will dine upon your soul this evening, sir. Because the commitment's there in the attack roll.
That's slightly above average.
Yeah.
So the Eldritch Blast does find purchase. He does seem to be a fair bit more robust than the others.
And I'll squeeze my way through over to there.
Gotcha. That will bring us to Sophia.
Sophia's going to take a step up and try to smack that one.
Okay.
Again with Pythor's hammer. Ooh, 23. Critical
Seems
hit.
like really well for you.
Here's hoping that continues.
So you bring that hammer down and right into its rib cage, and you feel like shattering bone, and it slumps.
Good.
Deacon.
All right, well, I'm going to finish off the one here that's right on my right.
Okay.
Oh,
Perfect. Yeah, just as you just bring that spear around, it's trying to come towards you, trying to lunge at you, and it impales itself on the spear, and it slides forward ever so slightly, and then you just kind of you put your foot on it and push it off, pull your spear out.
and then I'll interpose my way between the big one and Helena.
Okay. That's the fire pit, so you probably don't want to stand quite there.
I love how I get hit once and everybody just rushes to defend me.
It's love.
I am adorable.
That will bring us to Helena.
So Helena, after being attacked for healing somebody, gets a murderous look on her face and she whispers something incomprehensible to the rest of the party at the big broody troglodyte. And let's see if he makes his wisdom save.
He does. He is slightly wiser than the others.
Damn. Well, that sucks.
Step back.
He does still take half damage from your dissonant whispers.
Okay. There we go. So he takes 4.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the immediately run away effect.
Yeah. So I will move back a touch and try and like pull the centaur with me.
Okay.
Now that he's conscious.
Okay. Alrighty, that will bring us to Agri.
Agri moves up 1 and casts Cure Wounds. Max.
Good.
Nice.
This
Was it me? Oh, I didn't know you were casting on me. You didn't specify.
So
Sorry,
this
the only one hurt.
this troglodyte now is continuing to try to get through to the healers. You can tell, like, in its somewhat primitive brain, it does equate to, kill the healers first, sort of thing. But Deacon is in its way, so Deacon will be the brunt of these attacks.
Absolutely not.
But yes, with your the mastery of your shield and your armor and the family heirloom ring that you have, you find it very easy to deflect the blows of this creature. Arathius.
Turn it to ash.
Well, that's the goal. Oh, god damn. Good damage roll, but a crap attack.
Yeah. Sometimes
Apparently the Fates don't like it when other people are trying to guide me.
that will bring us to Sophia.
One quick question. Are we missing a bard?
No.
Oh, okay. I
Did
thought
she
would
stay
come with it.
behind in town?
She did dissonant whispers and then she moved back behind the Deacon.
No, I think he's talking about Kiara.
Oh,
Wrong bird.
yes, she did stay behind with the centaurs.
Okay. And now we're
I'm
just
just
killing.
missing that reroll. That's all.
Yeah.
Can't have it always.
Alrighty.
Unless
So
our
that
bard
guy,
starts giving it out.
the guy down at the bottom, is still alive.
Yes, he is. He seems to be much more resilient than the others.
Yeah, go
Well,
fix that problem.
Sophia's gonna run down, and as she's running, haul the hammer back and take a swing. Oh. Apparently, she should not pull back and move at the same time.
She pulled something.
Yeah.
She definitely pulled something, and it was not the hammer.
She was using her big minotaur legs to step over that fire pit and was a little off balance.
Oh, too much heat on sensitive bits.
That will take us to Deacon.
It's like, ouch, ouch, ouch. Floor's lava, floor's lava.
Yeah.
Well, I got him right here, so I'm going to stab him with my spear.
So yeah, you drive that spear deep into it, practically pinning him to the wall. He's like writhing and trying to like claw at you and bite you. You can tell like when you pull that spear out, he slumps. And you can almost like his eyes are starting to cloud over. You can see the life slowly fading from his eyes. But he's still standing.
I'm still standing. Yeah.
You guys are very, very good at leaving monsters with 1 hit point.
So Helena stands up because now she's mad. And she just shoots him and hopes for the coup de grace.
Oof.
Hey,
Oh,
look
yeah.
at that. There's the coup de grace. I think that's like 3 times I've like murdered something with 1 hit point. Thanks, guys, for just leaving the last little bit for me every time.
You're very welcome.
What was that?
I said it's what hobos do.
And I said you're very welcome.
Mm.
I think I finally figured out how to do automatic XP calculation.
That's cool.
Deacon getting ahead of himself. Like, I mean, arrow-wise, using Middle English.
True.
All right. So yeah, with that, you'd defeat the last of the troglodytes that are in this room, including one that seemed to be significantly more dangerous than the others.
Oh boy, can't wait to see what's in the other rooms.
So, before we run off, should we maybe get these centaurs out of here?
Yep.
How many were they missing? Because this is just 2.
Are there any more? Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
They said they were missing a couple members of their tribe.
Okay, well, I will ask the centaurs that we saved. Are there any more of your people down here?
No, not anymore. I'm McCulloch, and that's Harak. He points to the one that you pulled off the spit.
Well, McCulloch and Harak, there's no need to recount the tragedies that have happened. We'll get you out of here and call your people.
Yes.
Thank you. My uncle's tribe should be nearby.
Yes, they provided me with a horn as I draw it out to call once we're back on the bank of the river.
Oh, thank you. We're not used to such kindness from non-centaurs.
I know what we do.
We'd hardly be worth starting to be called heroes if we weren't heroes for everyone.
This is also true. Let's get you home.
Thank you. And so he will help his tribe mate who's kind of like leaning on him. It's kind of weird to see like one centaur leaning on another. They take up a fair amount of space. But you can tell that the two of them are fairly close. And everybody give me stealth check.
Stealth. What's that?
Oh, so bad.
Stealthy's horseman is stealthy.
It's like Sophia's reading out loud from her book, and Deacon's just like walking and tapping his spear with every step.
Clink, 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 clink.
Yeah, it's all the metal, the scales, and the shield, and the spear.
Helena's just tiny and leather clad. It's easy to be quiet.
So yes, so Sophia and Deacon are making a fair bit of noise, but the rest are like, shh. We can't afford to draw any attention. And they're like, okay, so everybody kind of tiptoes and make your way out because over half of the party succeeded on your stealth checks.
Yay!
So yeah, so you guys can make your way back out to the banks of the river easily.
And Arathius will take out the horn, draw a deep breath, and blow.
Right, and the horn lets out this very, very low, reverberating call. There is no. It's not designed to sound like an animal or anything like that. It is very distinctive. And it just kind of like echoes out over the river, and oddly enough, can be heard over the din of the waterfall. And then takes a moment or two, and then I think Sophia has the highest passive perception. Sophia and Agri probably. You can hear like a returned, like an answering horn coming from across the river. It doesn't sound like it's terribly far away.
Well, let's start making our way.
And yes, you guys can meet up with them. The travel to them is not fraught with danger, so it will count as a short rest by the time you're all said and done. There's much rejoicing from the centaurs as you arrive with these two. There's a very much like Kalak is like these people found us and rescued us, and we were fortunate enough to encounter them. And he looks right at Arathius and says, the fate certainly smiled upon this. Had we not met them on the road, things would have been much more dire. So thank you all. And the leader of the centaurs, Hukar, reaches into his pouch and he pulls out these kind of like dark blue vials of liquid. Says, we don't have much to offer, but we can offer you these. These are they're concocted from the blood of our tribe and blessed by Thylea. They will give you great prowess in battle.
Thank you.
Thank you for your kindness, friends. I believe I need to return your horn now, though.
You can keep it as a memento.
Gladly, thank you. I will cherish it.
And let it be a symbol that not all centaurs and all other races need to be in conflict.
Hear, hear.
I would think our group represents that.
Yeah, we are quite the motley crew, aren't we?
Just a touch.
Honestly, the composition of your group is why we approached you as opposed to avoiding you. We thought you would be receptive to working with us.
Oh, most definitely.
So we will get our young ones home, but thank you again.
Yes, they need much rest.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Agri
To prove
responds
our
back.
goodness.
Agri speaks in Sylvan and says until next time.
Until next time. If you require assistance with anything, come and find us.
Arathius smiles at the exchange in Sylvan, but doesn't say anything.
And then they will kind of wheel away and leave.
Hey, look, it's a cavalry wheel.
Very much, very precise.
Well, shall I go back in and see what else we can find?
Let's clean the mines.
Yes.
I think we should clean out the troglodyte warrens. I'm sure there are more in there.
Remove that scourge and then cleanse the rest of the mines. The dwarves wouldn't return with them there either anyway.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, this way we can make sure that there's nothing behind us as we enter into the mine sections, and perhaps we can make a camp under the waterfall before we do. I realize that some of you may need a night's rest before certain abilities can be done.
Oh, I'm feeling right as rain.
I feel
But I
fine,
can't speak for all.
but is there anyone who doesn't
Doesn't what?
feel
Ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
feel like we should continue now?
I need to roll a couple of hit die, but other than that,
Well, we did get a short rest. So you can throw some dice in.
yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna do.
Do it. Click on the short rest. Click on it.
I click that to restore my active options.
I only want to roll 2. Oh well, screw it. Do the thing. There we go. Maybe. Alright. Sure.
And 1 die.
There we go.
Alrighty. So yes, so the travel to the centaurs and then the travel back will count as a short rest. You guys are really just walking at a fairly slow pace because of your wounded centaurs.
Cool.
Sadly, my shield ability needs a long rest. But that's for after we clean up the troglodytes.
Yeah, as long as we don't find ourselves in a very disadvantageous position, it'll be more useful against the hound.
Very much so.
So you guys make your way back in.
Yes.
Yep.
Certainly do.
So yes, as you make your way back down that dark, stinky corridor, you can tell that there's definitely been some activity in the time you've been gone. You do see like some of the nests are moved around. The spit is put back on the fire pit. And as you so yes, as you kind of make your way through, it is very much a warrens. There's a bunch of little kind of like chambers off to the sides with nesting areas. Nothing that looks like any sort of civilization, for lack of a better term. The Troglodytes are very, very kind of bestial. So it's really a question of which way you would like to explore.
I'm going to give Deacon guidance.
Okay.
As he continues to search through this. So basically, extra D4 on an ability check.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Will that stack with the Bardic Inspiration?
It does actually. The thing
Alright, I will... Sorry, go ahead.
The thing with guidance is it only lasts for a minute, and it is concentration.
Okay. I will throw another Bardic Inspiration at him, though, because I've got 3 to play with.
Yeah, I did use that, so.
Yeah, so take another.
Alrighty. So yeah, so you come to like a kind of a fork in the road, and as you kind of look, I'm going to assume, just because I didn't bother doing the lighting and everything on the maps, that Helena's probably got her light spell, and there's torches and stuff, so you guys can see. But off to your left and your right, you do see very obvious living quarters, currently empty, but there are bones and blood splatters and like these just rough straw piles for beds to both directions.
Continue on.
Yes.
So as Deacon makes his way around to the to the right as you're coming down the hallway, definitely things have been living here. Nothing is currently here now. Judging from the other place you've seen, you would guess there's probably maybe a dozen or so troglodytes, just based off of like the living stuff that you've seen so far. So it's not a great number of them by any stretch.
We've already killed over half of them.
Yeah, we killed 8. Cool. Continuing onward then.
And as you start to make your way down to that corridor, the stench coming from that area is overwhelming. I need a Constitution saving throw.
Ouch.
I think I'm pass out.
All right. So Helena and Agri, you are both considered poisoned.
Oh, lovely.
That is nasty.
Ew.
For the next hour.
Yuck.
Although you do have the charm of vitality if you wish to use it.
I'll wait till we get the fuck out of here first.
Same.
So yeah, as you make your way down that hallway, the stench just becomes worse and worse, and like Helena and Agri are literally just like gagging and choking back the vomit that comes up to their mouths. It is unreal, the stench coming from the room off of this little hallway. And as Deacon kind of like looks around, and you can tell that this is, for all of their odious habits, this is where the troglodytes deposit their refuse.
Oh, it's nasty.
Oh, the garbage
Can I
of the
mention I'm a city girl? Like, ugh. I did not need to smell troglodyte latrine today. Oh,
And
my
yet here
nose
we
is
are.
burning.
But Deacon can give me a perception check.
Huh.
So as you're kind of like looking and you're like, oh my god, that is unbelievably nasty. Your torchlight catches the glint of metal amongst the refuse.
shiny thing. Go look.
Oh god, Deacon, what are you doing? Oh!
Now there's something in there.
Let it stay there?
You were never going to get that smell out of your armor.
Probably weren't going to be able to get it out of the armor just passing by it.
Oh yes, no, trust me. Based on my past, I know how to get the smell of that out of my armor.
So Deacon kind of wades through, and it's like a good, like 5 feet of troglodyte crap, literally. But as you kind of like, you see where you're, where that light was glinting off something metal, and you kind of like reach around for a bit, and you pull up a really nice looking, surprisingly light set of ring mail.
I will throw it over my shoulder and weigh it out.
And I will need another Constitution saving throw for you.
Heroism.
Theoretically, in this case, it's greed, but okay.
But you've saved others from it.
You are also poisoned for the next hour. And
Okay.
until you have a chance to get cleaned off, you automatically fail any stealth check.
Oh,
Understood.
you guys want to go take a dip?
Yes, fortunately, there's a really large shower just outside.
Deacon, I can't believe you literally just waded through enough shit to drown me for some armor.
But as you look at that, Sophia, you would probably recognize this. And Deacon, now that you can get it out of the muck and look at it, who else is trained in history?
Me.
Okay. This ringmail is made out of mithril.
Oh,
Ooh.
now I see why you went in.
It reflected the light so well it had to have been something that wasn't normal.
Still not sure it was worth the smell.
Mithril or not, though, I don't think I want to touch it until after it's been washed off.
All things can be cleansed.
No, thankfully. Thankfully. That is
Even
definitely going to need a cleansing.
Yes, even certain gods we both seem to have a connection to.
Here's hoping. Ideally before he smells like that.
Oh, Jesus.
At least he has servants.
To keep him washed off?
I
would
expect so,
rather not
otherwise he
think
would have
about it.
reeked this badly by now.
Don't want to think about it. No. There are things I do not need to visually know. I don't need to.
I put the armor into my backpack.
Yeah, for a set of like full ringmail, it is surprisingly lightweight. Like you could probably wear this under normal clothing.
Cool.
Neat.
It is not quite as resilient as the chain that both you and Sophia are wearing, but it is significantly lighter and does not impose disadvantage on stealth checks.
Cool.
Which is something I should have remembered when you guys were sneaking out.
It's all right. They rolled crap anyway.
That is true. They are the two that failed.
Oh yeah, too much crap. All right, moving on. Let's check and see what's in this.
So that room is there is a cold wind that blows up from the tunnel that leads off of this room, and there is a sign posted, written very crudely, but in common, that says, "Danger, do not enter."
All right, we'll make that for later, and we'll continue on our sweep.
And from this room, you guys can see that room that Deacon is heading towards. That room is actually lit. There are torches along the walls. And as you start to approach, you can see what looks like a very crudely carved throne with a very large troglodyte sitting on it, kind of flanked by a couple of others. And as he spots you, he's like, "Ah, methinks we have visitors. Please step forward." And completely unaccented comment.
Interesting.
Good time of day.
And who might you be, darling?
I am but a humble king, surrounded by, and he looks at the two troglodytes nearby, knaves and imbeciles. It is refreshing to have visitors who I could perhaps parley with.
Right, this is a troglodyte, right?
Absolutely, it is.
Can I do a check to, I don't know what check that would be, to figure out why he's able to speak perfect common when the rest of them have been bumbling bestial idiots?
Oh no, you're gonna give him an IQ test while we wait.
I can try.
Give me a perception check.
Perception? Sure.
You do notice, unlike the other troglodytes, he's actually dressed in some semblance of very tattered finery. And he is, in fact, wearing what looks like a golden circlet that he's wearing as a crown. So perhaps I may inquire as to the reasons for your visitation.
We were concerned about some friends of ours that had gone missing.
Oh, that is a shame. I do hope that you found them.
I believe so, yes.
Have you always been a troglodyte?
Well, yes. Oh, I understand. You are confused by my method of discourse.
Your capacity for diction and diatribe does leave me astounded. Yes.
You also have way better style than your compatriots.
Yes. Many, many years ago, the Lord Sidon blessed upon me my kingdom and my crown. And since then, I have been gifted with a intellect far beyond that of my brethren.
Your crown, you say?
Yes. And unfortunately, I have been lonely for company. These are idiots.
If
Why
you're
have
still...
you just left then?
Well, I should not abandon my kingdom that was granted me by Lord Sidon.
Yeah.
If you've been so starved for company, why did you try to harm the centaurs? They would have been great conversationalists.
Yes, but I have subjects that must be fed.
And activating rage.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And activating charge straight into the king.
Apparently, you don't eat sentience is his breakpoint.
Barbarians gonna barbarians.
It really
It
is.
is.
It's just hilarious. Hilarious for reasons Anita can appreciate too.
All right. So they're obviously surprised. Everybody roll initiative. They will not get to act on their turns.
I didn't expect the centaur to be insulted that they tried to eat centaurs.
They never expected the Spanish Inquisition either.
They never do. So, question, Chris, do I get mine off before top of the order?
Yes, yours will go, and then we'll go into the initiative order.
And 1 sec, will I also add charge to that? So there you go.
So yes, as the king makes his offhanded comment about eating centaurs, You guys just hear this like primal growl from Agri, and before any of you get even a chance to react, he's like across there and has brought his scimitar like down, like point first into the king's chest and pulls it out with this spray of blood.
I'm pretty sure the only action we would have taken would have been a step back to get out of his way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Deacon would have moved to the side. Yeah, make it a clear line.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah, the minute he said that, I was like pivoting, going, "Bring it on!"
Helena, you're up.
I guess I'm gonna try my crossbow.
Okay.
Hey, look at that! I hit things.
Who are
At least
you?
I really hope I hit things.
Yeah, who are you crossbowing?
I'm crossbowing the king.
All right, so ding, the crossbow bolt sinks into its shoulder and kind of grunts at you.
You really shouldn't eat sentient people. It's not a good thing to do. In fact, it's kind of dumb.
Arathius is up.
Well, time for you to meet your fate, good sir. Have a good one.
All right. Sophia. As the flames envelope the king, and he kind of like writhes in pain and agony. He's like looking like he can't decide who the actual threat is, whether it's the barbarian, whether it's Arathius, whether it's Helena with the crossbow. His eyes are just like flickering back and forth, and you can see for all of his intelligence, there is a very definite like just evil behind those eyes.
Well, yeah, he made a deal with Sidon for his kingdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was kind of the first hint. So I'm going to use Guiding Bolt.
Alrighty.
Sophia mutters to herself.
Ooh.
I assume that was against the king as well?
Yes. Oh, yes. 12
That's gonna
radiant
hurt.
damage. That was the plan.
So Sophia holds out her hand, and this bolt of energy like reaches out, strikes the king, kind of like causing him to glow and causing everybody who's focused on attacking the king to just kind of instantly recognize, where he's going to move to, what he's going to do. The next attack against the king has advantage. Troglodytes are like, oh my god, what's going on? That will bring us to Agri.
All right. Well, might as well do it again. Oh.
I was gonna say, just gonna turn around and charge
Okay.
Deacon.
Because of the guiding bolt, you do have an advantage on that attack, so the 14 does hit.
Yay.
Good.
So yeah, with a mighty swing, Agri basically brings that sword, brings the scimitar down and almost separates the head from the body in one blow. It's basically, hang on, they're kind of like nearly headless Nick. The king is like, still alive, but not by much.
That's
There's that
terrible.
1 hit point again.
Agri, sharpen your damn sword.
1 hit point again. Deacon.
And I'll spear the one there.
Okay. So yeah, the poor troglodyte's like, what? Huh? And then that guy like turns around and catches like a spear like through his cheek. Tears out a nasty, nasty chunk of flesh.
Ouch.
I just want to see if my piercer has.
Piercer you can use every turn.
Yeah, because that looks like it was shitty damage.
Yeah, if it's red, that means you rolled the minimum on the die.
So I will re-roll.
Yep.
What am I using?
/R space 1d6.
marginally better.
That's still one more point of damage. The Troglodyte King is like grabbing his throat and coughing up blood. He was surprised, so he doesn't get to act on the first round. So that'll bring us around to Helena. Oh, tech issues on that end. I kind of hear you.
Yeah, your connection just kind of went bless your robody.
It's like a weird robo voice.
Just asking if the king's still alive.
Yes, he is, barely.
Yeah, just having tech issues on her end here.
Yeah. So the crossbow sinks into the king, and he like slumps back into the throne. His eyes kind of glaze over. That will bring us to Arathius.
Oh, geez, Helena, aren't you supposed to be the one writing the stories, not the one always killing bad guys?
Not intentionally, guys. Just
And all Eldritch Blast went the normal Troglodytes. They're still there.
Okay. The wounded one or the fresh one?
The wounded one, I'll finish him off. Or not. Or definitely not.
Definitely not. That will bring us to Sophia.
Sophia's going to rush the one down in the east. And take a swing with the hammer.
Okay.
19. 6 damage.
So Sophia runs across and swings his hammer in a wide arc and basically caves in a good chunk of the Troglodyte's skull. It is going to respond with trying to bite and claw.
Who?
You, because you just hit it.
Just checking. Some of those will hit.
The claws hit for 4 slashing. And the other one is going to try to get through Deacon to get to Helena, who killed his king. Not even close.
Does that give me an attack of opportunity?
No. Attacks of opportunity are if they move out of your melee range.
Okay.
That will bring us to Agri. The king slumps down with a crossbow bolt sticking out of his forehead.
Cool. And I'm gonna attack the one that's shucks. I'm attacking the one that Sophia's hammering on here too.
Okay.
Hammering? Get it?
Hammering on? Really?
Yep. Went there.
It wasn't the worst thing he could have said.
No, definitely not.
So you just kind of whirl around with your scimitar and just like decapitate that poor troglodyte like it's nothing.
Nice.
Deacon is up.
And I will spear the opponent up front of me. I will use the 1d6 that's imparted to me.
Excellent. Yes. That will be enough to hit with the Bardic Inspiration.
Yep, and then I'll piercer the damage.
Okay.
Wow.
Bueno.
So yeah, so out of the corner of your eye, you see Agri just like decapitate the other troglodyte, and not to be outdone, you find like the perfect place, and you basically take your spear through the navel and then up through the back of the neck, severing its spine with your spear tip in the process, and then just kicking it off your spear with your foot.
Oh yeah.
Nice job.
Very well done.
So this is the Kingly Lair. Is there anything around?
There are some like odds and sods kicking around. So yes, he does have it looks like near his seat, there's what he was using as his royal scepter, which is a solid ingot of mithril.
Oh, wow.
Well, at least the scepter was kingly.
Well, I suspect, yes, that's a thing. You might also want to take the circlet off his head.
Yes.
I'll take the ingot scepter and put it in my backpack.
I'll take the tattered remains off his body as well, because they probably belong to the dwarves.
Okay. They do look like they were very ill-fitting for him. But yeah, to probably Deacon and Helena, to your trained eye, that ingot of mithril, may or may not be enough to forge a weapon with. Definitely enough to plate a weapon, but it's definitely worth coin.
And I think we certainly know somebody who could work that ingot.
Yes, absolutely. And who picked up Arathius? You picked up the circlet?
Yeah, if I'm taking the clothes off and no one else came, I'll take the circlet.
Okay. So yeah, the circlet is
I was going to.
It's all right.
it is in remarkably good condition. It does. There's no signs of age or wear or anything.
It's not strictly the craftsmanship involved usually.
I would not be shocked if it was what was giving him his intelligence.
Indeed. Well, when we actually take a camp, we'll take the time to see if there's anything on it. As enchantments or the less.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. So yes, you guys do a little switch around. There doesn't seem to be much else here of worth. Doesn't seem like the Troglodytes, even the king, didn't keep a lot of value in things. You do find there's like some coins tossed here and there, probably what 20 gold coins worth of assorted coinage. Couple of like, pretty rocks that you don't think are gemstones, but you'd have to get them actually looked at by somebody who knows what they're looking for, because it's like unworked gems.
Understood.
Just put things in my backpack. I've got the highest strength, I think.
I'm sure the dwarves will be able to tell us.
I'm sure Vulcan will be able to tell us.
Either one of those, yes, absolutely. But yeah, you take like an hour or so to kind of like search through the Warren area. Enough time for the sickness feeling to kind of subside.
I will admit, I'm curious what's down the cold tunnel.
Well,
but we still have 2 rooms left to check.
Yeah, they shouldn't take too long. I just thought I'd mention it.
Yes, I think that's probably something best left for after we've had a good rest.
Danger to them doesn't mean danger to us, but I take your point.
I certainly would rather everyone be fresh before we explore further.
Well, maybe after you spend some time in the water then.
If nothing else, I desperately need to get cleaned.
They'd smell you coming long before they saw you.
Absolutely.
It's fading, but it is still...
Oh, no.
bad.
You're just
Quite
getting numb to it.
Oh, is that the case?
Yes.
Oh.
I have this lovely pomander every now and then they'll take a sniff of just to make sure that I'm not losing my mind. And no, the stench is pretty much just as bad as it was when he came out.
Oh, dear.
Just remember that in order for you to smell something, particles of it must actually enter your nose. Ooh ha ha.
That was mean.
Okay. So what are you guys up to then? Like I said, you can take the time to kind of search through this Warren area, but there is nothing.
So no troglodytes.
No beast in that other room, yeah.
Nope. Everything seems to have been, like I said, it wasn't a very large tribe to begin with, and you guys decimated a bunch of them. Unless anybody wants to do a more thorough search of the stench room.
No, you're just exactly where you were, unfortunately, Jess.
You're hearing me.
Yeah,
that
was a little better, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay.
Yeah,
I know when Yorick has that issue in Fallout, if he speaks slower, it seems to work better.
But it gets frustrating trying to talk really slow.
And Shatner's speech does get very frustrating.
Yeah. I'm not good at speaking slow.
Shatner's speech.
It's a good description.
I don't know what you are talking about.
Oh, God. All right. Well, since we don't find any more troglodytes in either of these, in these 2 rooms that are left, what say we make our way outside?
Yes, we should set up camp just underneath the waterfall, or the best bet. It's very defensible.
And everyone can bathe, some of us further upriver than others.
Yes. Much cleaner.
So you guys can get outside, find a dry-ish space to set up a little camp. it's vaguely disturbing when Deacon gets into the river that it literally leaves like a slick on the top of the water.
Oh, that's what I was expecting. Ugh.
Yeah, this is a complete strip and clean. Like, yeah, there's.
It makes me wish I could purify somehow. Sophia kind of shivers and turns around.
You can make sure to take a nice big bar of soap out of his backpack.
See, people always laugh. My D&D characters, I always buy soap for my equipment, and everybody's like, "Why?" Like, you never know.
Well, otherwise, it's disgusting. And just imagine the wandering monsters you're going to attract if you stink to high heaven.
Absolutely. So yeah, so everybody can have a like a quick dip in the river. The river is very chilly. It is like mountain river water.
That's brisk, baby.
It is
Does not bother me a bit.
But yes, everybody manages to get washed up, wash some of the troglodyte stink and blood off of you.
Oh, thank goodness.
I also wash the ring man.
You can empty out your bag and wash it too.
Probably, yeah. Everything I picked up in the backpack will get washed.
Yeah, Deacon is doing a very thorough cleaning of like all of his gear. Again, you guys are kind of struck by the precision with which he cleans everything. Like, you can tell this is somebody whose life depends on maintenance of their gear.
Yeah, and that'll be, fix any rent holes and sharpen all the gear.
Right. So are you guys taking a rest? Are you going back in?
I would recommend a long rest just simply because there are folks that will benefit from that greatly.
I have no loss or benefit from taking a long or short or none.
Yeah, I'm good to just continue through.
But your shield wall isn't available. That is something missing.
I was also
I'm fine to continue.
I'm also thinking healing spells.
Well, I can still cast 3 spells.
I don't think we're on a timetable now that we've rescued the centaurs and we've cleaned out the troglodyte warren. So I think we can take our time.
A day wouldn't hurt anyone, as far as we know.
Well, it's better to be safe than sorry. I mean, if you wish to rush in, by all means, but...
You never know how many hours you've been given.
Well, very well then. I have a look at this mithril ringmail. Is it human-sized or is it other creature-sized?
It is dwarven sized.
Excellent. We'll keep that until we find a dwarf.
I will. While you guys are short resting, does anybody want to try to attune to the circlet?
Yeah.
Do you want me to identify it first?
I can do both.
Okay.
Because you have the circlet and you have the potions from the centaurs that you're not exactly sure what they do.
Yeah, if you want to identify the potions.
Sure. Sophia will have a seat. Sit them out in front of her. take out a pearl, roll it around in her fingers, and sort of wave over them with her owl feather. Start muttering to herself.
Woo, woo.
More of a what, but close.
So as you kind of ponder these potions and you think about what the centaurs told you, and you remember you've done some reading here and there in your service to Valis, probably more than a little bit, and you recognize the effects of this potion. There are potions that make you temporarily healthier, make your blows more accurate, make you more resistant to damage, and you're pretty sure that's what these are. Mechanically, they are potions of heroism. So when you drink the potion, you gain 10 temporary hit points, and you are considered to be blessed as per the spell. No concentration necessary for 1 hour.
Cool.
So bless is a D4 added to all of your attacks and all of your saving throws.
Nice.
And Arathius, as you look at this circlet and you kind of reach out to the fates for information about it, and you're not wrong. This circlet does give its bearer vast intellect, regardless of their species, regardless of anything else, regardless of any infirmities they may suffer while they're wearing it. Their intelligence is always at its peak level.
Oh, wow.
Mechanically, it is a circlet of intellect. So while wearing it, you have an intelligence of 19. It does require attunement.
Intelligence is always nice, but that is not my wheelhouse. So Rathus will mention that we'll point out that this is a circlet of intelligence. He'll bring the wearer's intellect to the to the peak and remain there, regardless of what may occur. I would find it useful, but I'm certain others might find it far more useful than I.
Intelligence isn't my main ability, but I can always use more. But if somebody else has better use for it,
No, my calling is to wisdom.
Yeah, I think we're all wisdom, charisma, and combat-y.
Not ice as a horse.
I'll wear it because it's pretty.
Rathius will attune to it on that argument.
These, however, are potions of heroism. They'll bless you for an hour and make you
Worthy of the name.
healthier. I think
Buffier.
might be the best way to say it. Buffier?
Da, 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 da. Buff, 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 buff.
I'd recommend they go to Deacon and Agrius.
Oh, no argument there.
Varathius is with us in the front lines as well.
All right. There were 4, weren't there, Chris?
There are 3.
Okay.
One
So
for
Sophia hands them out.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm going to double check. The Headband of Intellect may not require attunement.
It's not my edition wheelhouse. I don't know remotely offhand.
I'm just used to, yes, it does require attunement. I'm just used to just always handing it off to the wizard if you find one.
Well, nothing wrong with more intelligence. Helps in the saving throws.
True.
Perfect. There we go. So I added that onto your character sheet there, B.
Okay.
So as long as it is equipped and attuned, it will automatically set your intelligence to 19. So if you ever unequip it or deattune it, your intelligence will drop back down to the normal level.
Okay.
It's easier than trying to go like, what was my
Yeah.
intelligence again?
Yeah.
And who is taking a potion of heroism?
I
All
am.
three of the fronts.
I say that was one to Agri, one to Deacon, and one to Arathius.
Yep.
And I will take the opportunity to remind people of my house rule that using a potion on yourself is a bonus action.
Good to make sure to try and remember. Especially since I know as a player that does the normal action cost does make me leery of taking something sometimes in a combat.
Exactly. All right. So you guys have had a little bit of a rest. Anything that recovers on a short rest can recover. You guys can use your hit dice. Everybody is bathed and refreshed. What would you guys like to do?
Well, I guess the big question is, do we want to go down the cold danger passage in the Troglodyte, or we want to head right into the actual mine ruin?
Well, now that we'd have identified, or rather, now that I've identified, I can only cast one spell. So I would say north to the mine, and then tomorrow south into the cold.
If you want,
We know we have a combat in the mines.
yes, we can easily set shop here now, and everyone can rest for the night. There is no need to go into here unprepared.
True. I was hoping to get one or the other done, but I will bow to your wisdom.
I was expecting the cold tunnel to be more of a scouting than an actual engagement.
But we don't know that. Whatever may have been a danger to the Troglodytes, but it may not even have been the Troglodytes because it was written in very clear common, but still.
Unless
No,
they're...
it could have just been their king saying, "Don't go that way. I've got stuff," but just making it danger.
Sophia.
Yes.
Actually, anybody trained in religion can give me a religion roll.
Oh. Ouch. 14.
So discussing this for a second, and you're thinking about it, and darkness, coldness. These caverns were cursed by Lutheria, who is the goddess of death. And odds are, if that tunnel is preternaturally cold, it is probably connected to her realm in some nature.
Yes, I think we'll definitely rest before going south, because I think that is connected to Lutheria's realm. Now that I
Well.
think about it.
No, we definitely would want to see about disconnecting that if we could.
The cold has that unnatural quality to it. I think that's what it is.
I'm just thinking that it's just best for a rest right now. We have a safe location that we can easily defend, and so far there's no danger. Sleeping inside the dwarven mine areas might not be quite so safe.
True.
And I wasn't aware we were on a timetable.
We aren't. All right, should we set up camp here on the shore, or would you like to be a little farther away?
Well, the interesting part about the waterfall is that it creates security for inside. Even though it's going to dampen some hearing, it's going to really, really affect who's ever trying to come in and get us. So realistically, we only have to guard the entrance from that we can get through into the warrens.
Mm.
Unless, of course, you'd like to sleep in the Troglodyte warrens.
Not particularly, no. I don't like sleeping in a tavern. I think I'll be fine outside.
None of these conditions are what I like regardless, so.
Well, you're welcome to climb the cliff so that you can see the stars.
Do my hands look like I climb cliff faces often? I just want to make sure I'm not giving the wrong impression here.
No, you're not. I'm just saying, you should just kind of stick together for now.
And as you guys are discussing the idea of setting up a camp here, as Deacon is kind of like surveying this scene, yes, this is absolutely a defensible position. It's a dwarven mine. The dwarves don't make anything without an eye towards defensibility. So it is quite possibly the safest place that you're going to find for quite a while.
Yeah, especially right here in front of the old collapsed gates.
Yeah. So yes, you can find a place where you're like not hit too much by the spray to kind of set up a little camp. Are you guys setting up watches?
Yep.
Oh, definitely.
Once we get situated, I will totally pop the lovely horn and offer everybody up a meal.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Rathius will definitely offer to take watch during the dark.
Okay.
I will take the last watch at first light.
So the night does pass by peacefully. Really, the big thing here probably would have been troglodytes out hunting because they are nocturnal, but that's not an issue. Arathius, you notice during your watch that there is a fairly decent view of the sky, and the sight of like the stars kind of juxtaposed with the power of the waterfall and everything is really quite something to behold. But you do have a very clear vision of the sky.
Rathius will quietly make some notes and a really rough sketch because he's terrible at art. While he enjoys it because, well, I've got all the vision and all the time in the world.
Okay. And Deacon, during your watch, it is oddly peaceful and somewhat relaxing to I mean, you're definitely on watch, but to know that you're in a defensible location, you know, that nothing can kind of catch you unawares. It's oddly comforting being back in that sort of situation.
That's good. Reminds me of the days back in the garrison. The other nice thing is the fact that I'm always up early anyways, so hey.
I usually was too, but I can manage. If I'm awake, I'll keep you company. I imagine I'll be awake.
It's actually a beautiful crescent moon.
Oh, nice.
I highly suspect the sunset will be awesome here. Or the rise.
Whichever we can see. Should be the sunrise. Which is really the other part of why I expect to be up early. I'm used to waking with the sun. It's the benefit of being outside.
As am I. This is a soldier's life.
Oh. Hmm.
That totally is just snoring away.
Happily snoring.
See,
It's almost got a musical tune to it, like she sings in her sleep.
this is probably a good reason why sleeping in the mines would have been a bad idea.
The echo? She would have had lovely acoustics.
Totally sounds like a monster.
Imagine Agri snores like.
Oh. Sophia is going to make herself comfortable, have something to eat, and just sort of lay back and sort of close her eyes and pray until she falls asleep.
Sleep well.
Here's hoping.
So the night passes without incident. When you wake up in the morning, you feel refreshed. You've kind of gotten used to the noise level.
The white noise in
Yeah.
the background.
Nothing.
Wake up, you have to pee.
Yeah, nothing quite like the white noise of a raging waterfall beside you.
Yes, like I said, probably up several times to pee in the night.
Yep.
At least it's not just a tinkling stream beside us. That would have been worse.
Great novel, The Thundering Waterfall by I.P. Freely.
So yes, you guys get up. You can have breakfast. New day ahead. So everybody can hit the long rest button. It'll reset everything for you. Those of you who are druids or clerics can choose your spells for the day.
Subdote some spells.
My easy but also more complicated spell casting life.
I find warlocks start to come into their own once you start getting like second and third level slots.
Oh, being the boosting to the spells already has been nice. I mean, still doing like 10 damage on that half damage instead of doing like 3.
Yes, for sure.
Let me see.
That's
And-
more in the fact that short rest refreshes.
Yeah. So you guys head back
The
in.
realm.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. The realm that we were discussing. Down toward the south.
Yes.
I
Lutheria's
take
domain.
it that's yes. Would that be sort of the land of aberrations or undead or fiends?
It is possible. I would think, and my worry is that perhaps that particular carved passage circumvents much of the dwarven home itself, and it's possible it could lead us to the heart of the bad, but it's also possible it can be so cursed it's ridiculous.
Well, I'm wondering more because I could reread my protection from evil and good.
If it does in fact lead to Lutheria's realm, that is absolutely where you will find aberrations, undead, fiends, and probably much worse.
Lovely.
Evil
I think I
outsiders.
will swap that out then.
Yes, evil outsiders for people that haven't played D&D for quite a while.
Sophia,
Yes.
do you believe if you were to go to the passage, you could tell of its nature?
Well, the more I think on who it is, the more I'm a little more confident about what to do. I don't know that being closer would help. Not at this point.
One of my thoughts is that if we actually go into the Dwarven Mine section and explore there, there may be other armor and equipment and other things that may help us in this endeavor.
Possibly, yes.
It's possible, but the Lady of Death and Enchantment strikes more magically than mundanely.
I think we should clear out the rest of the mines.
So I'm not
I
getting my
will-
hopes up about finding a protection against the lady herself or her magics.
So I'll be able to cure. Will detect evil and good. Guiding bolt because it's useful. I like being able to light up the target for those who are using ranged weapons. I think find traps will be useful, just in case.
And before we go into it, make sure that we have a good supply of potable water that we can drink.
Okay.
Agri's also casting Goodberry.
Okay.
Welcome to Goodberry, home of the Goodberry.
What does that do?
You basically see Agri go ahead and create what seems almost out of thin air these little berries, and then he hands them out to his party.
Those are the bushes that Helena and slightly less obviously Arathius ate to recover health.
Oh, yes. These
So-
are
2 per player.
interesting.
Help
How
us
long do they
not
last?
die,
I like not dying.
right?
At least I assume I do. I've never tried
Well,
it.
it's kind
I'd
of-
like to avoid it as long as possible.
It's kind of one of our top priorities.
Yeah, yeah.
If you succeed in that endeavor, you only get one shot.
I've eased others through it, but I prefer not to experience it myself just yet.
And the one shot is not necessarily a thing. I mean, I have heard of some spells.
Yeah, generally not worth it. Your soul
Yes,
gets marked.
it is possible. Again, though, I would prefer to avoid it as long as possible.
Right.
So, the right-hand passage, what do we see?
So as you start to make your way into this passage, it is at first it's a natural tunnel, and then it moves into very obviously constructed tunnels. And it passes under a stone bridge that crosses overhead. And there's a very narrow 5-foot ledge that leads up to the bridge if you wanted to go up to the bridge. Other than that, the worked tunnel continues on.
So, folks, up to the bridge or straight through the tunnel?
Straight through, because we might not all be able to climb up to the bench or
Yeah.
bridge.
I agree.
We can backtrack.
Fair enough.
It'll provide a convenient jumping off spot when we come back through. But for now.
All right, so you make your way down this tunnel, and this, like, the stonework tunnel kind of ends at the precipice of a very large natural rift in the earth. The ceiling is about 20 feet above you, but the rift itself, you cannot see the bottom.
Oh.
So, this is the mine shaft.
And you do see veins of
So-
silvery ore on the inside of the shaft and ancient mining equipment lining the walls. All of the wooden platforms and walkways are long rotted. There are chains attached to the ceiling, what looks like some sort of pulley system that would have been used to lift ore up from the depths. But looking at the change, you're like, I don't think those would hold Helena, let alone ore. They are so badly rusted and pitted. And the area around you has been scored by gouges in the stone, like giant claws reached out of that pit.
Oh.
Just to point out, Helena has decided she's happy today, so she has her wings.
Helena gives you wings.
Agri drops a good berry off the side.
Oh, why would you waste it?
See how deep it is, and if I hear an echo back.
We could have found a rock.
The rock have been louder?
You do
Good
not
don't-
freaking splat.
I don't think anyone has the hearing good enough to hear that rock at the bottom.
You do not hear anything.
Probably not.
Oof. That's deep.
I fluttered down a little bit just to see if I can get far enough to maybe see the bottom.
How far is your dark vision?
My dark vision is
Probably 60.
Unless it's a couple miles, don't bother.
Yeah.
it just says dark vision. It doesn't say how far it is.
It'd be 60 feet.
I'm also wearing my light, if that helps.
If you hover over, it'll pop out and say you have dark vision out to 60 feet.
So yeah, you go down like 10, 15, 20 feet. Don't see a bottom.
Still don't see a bottom. Okay.
Get up here.
Yeah, I went about 20 feet down, guys, and I still can't see the bottom.
We
No,
just don't. We just don't need you being a target for anything.
That's fair.
Gonna press on to this room that seems to be like a opened area.
So this massive hall is supported by a series of pillars, many of which have been broken. And there's the corpse of a gargantuan three-headed dog splayed out in the center of the room. You do see several smaller two-headed hounds chewing the flesh of the long rotted corpse. And there are the skeletal remnants of dwarves scattered everywhere.
It made it?
Chris, do I know anything about two-headed hounds?
You do not.
What are those?
And as you guys are kind of going like, what the fuck? Like one of the heads, like one of them is eating and the other one kind of like looks up in your direction. And then it kind of like lets out this like low growl. And the other two, all four heads kind of look in your direction.
Oh dear. That can't be good.
Apparently they're cannibals.
Well,
Wow, how'd that happen?
nice.
That's how that happened.
Thank you, B.
Balance
No
has
problem.
been restored.
Alrighty. So as these three hounds and all six heads and all 12 eyes kind of turn in your direction and let out this growl, Deacon, you're up.
Cool. I am going to quickly whip out my javelin,
Okay.
utter the words Yulala, and throw it at the back of the two, hoping to catch the two in the bolt.
Gotcha. That is, I believe, a dexterity save for both of them. Double check the javelin of lightning. Make a ranged weapon attack this target on a hit. The target takes the damage from the javelin plus 46 and everything in between it. So 19 will definitely hit.
I would like to re-roll the piercing damage, please.
Yes, absolutely. Getting a lot of good mileage out of that today.
Absolutely. What am I rolling on this one?
Javelin, I believe, is still a d6. Yes, it is.
Gotcha. Much better.
So this one failed, so that one... Deacon grabs the javelin and throws it and shouts the command word, and it turns into like a thunderbolt. Drives into the two-headed dog further back, but the lightning arcs out and catches the one in between him and it, both of them taking a significant amount of electrical damage.
Have at thee.
Helena, you're up.
I'm going to shoot the one closest to me with a crossbow because I'm going to assume that it's not smart enough to understand any of my spells. Do the thing, maybe? Sorry, I only meant to do that once.
Yep, that is a solid hit.
Good job.
Sweet. All of them hit. Everything just hits.
Sophia, you're up.
Yeah, I'll try. I would much rather save my spells for healing. I'm going to try the crossbow that I've been carrying around. We'll see if it actually does me any good. Huh.
Which one would you like to shoot?
Sorry. This one. Yep. I don't know if I hit it with a 15.
Yes, the crossbow bolt sinks like right into like the neck in between both of the
Excellent.
heads.
Move away from the pit.
As you say that, are you moving? Are you moving?
Yes, Sophia is going to move. She got a vision as her crossbow bolt sinks in between the two heads. All she can think is, if that thing barrels at me and catches me between those two heads, I'm going down a pit. We just had a conversation about avoiding death. So yes, she's coming up here.
Okay. So that one is going to move closer to you and try to bite you twice.
Okay.
Your goddess whispered, "Move."
Yeah, pretty much. Wisdom says, don't be 5 feet from the edge of a massive pit. Ouch.
Okay.
So that's what, 10 damage?
No, only the first one hit for 4 damage.
Okay.
And I need you to make a Constitution save.
Okay. 14.
Okay. So as it bites into you, you can feel like the kind of the hot doggy slobber,
Oh,
and you look down, and you're like, that's probably not sanitary.
Ew.
But you are robust and healthy.
and I took what, 6?
4.
Oh, okay.
That will bring us to Agri.
Yay, Constitution save.
Right.
And here we go again. So rage, and then charge to the one that's right in front of Sophia.
Okay. An 11 just barely misses. The dog skin seems to be somewhat resilient.
All right, I won't bother with the charge roll then.
That one is going to charge at Agri. Going to try to bite him twice. It will bite once for 4 damage. Becomes 2 because you're raging, and a con save.
Yay, I'm bit.
So yeah, as the thing bites you, and as it pulls its teeth back, you can see there's like the flesh around the bite is starting to blacken.
Yum.
So you are poisoned, which is disadvantage on attacks and ability checks. And the other one is going to barrel at Deacon. It is going to like basically charge right into you.
Can I set for charge?
Unfortunately, no. You would need to like have your action and then ready for it to charge.
Cool, gotcha.
So it is an athletics check.
Okay.
So yeah, so it comes charging, like barrels into you, and it knocks you back like an inch or two. But you realize that had you not had your feet properly braced, the odds of it hitting you hard enough to send you over that edge were probably pretty high.
Gotcha. Move forward.
But that does take its action. Arathius is up.
I'm alive. Well, there's so many doggos.
Probably a good thing it charged me.
Rathius will shoot the one that attacks Sophia
Okay.
with Warlock Special.
Okay.
Foul aberrations. This wasn't the deal that was made.
Nice.
So yeah, so the flames kind of lick out at it. One head snaps in your direction, the other one continues to try to bite at Sophia. It's very disconcerting realizing these things, not only do they have 2 heads, but they can focus on multiple targets at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's creepy.
That will bring us around to Deacon.
I will attempt to end the existence of the one who's with me.
Okay. Oof.
Serious about this.
Yeah, Deacon's like, I've had enough. And you bring that spear right between the 2 heads. and you locate that its heart is relatively central to the body, and your spear just in pierces the heart and out in one slick movement, and it just stops.
Excellent.
Nice.
That will bring us to Helena.
Do I have move
One-
after that, or can
Yes, you do. Sorry.
is it still alive?
Oh no. You pull your spear out with a clucking sound.
I'll go join the others.
Okay. Helena.
I will let.
Okay. Oh, a 9 will not be quite enough. It turns at the last minute, one of the heads sees it, and it kind of just moves out of the way ever so slightly. And you do have your movement if you'd like to move. And Sophia is up.
This one. I can't get it to light up. There it goes. He's too close to be able to use my crossbow with, isn't he?
Yeah, you would be disadvantaged to shoot him.
Okay.
Smite him.
Pythor's hammer it is. Or isn't. Not with 5.
Yeah, a 1 is a 1.
Is there any advantage to Agri being so close?
No, if you were like on the opposite side and you were flanking it,
Okay. Gotcha.
like you could have. No, actually,
That's fine.
yeah, you wouldn't have the move to get over there. Although for Helena, I believe you can add it to your epic poem when somebody rolls a natural 1 as well.
Ouch.
Shows a little, like I'd say humanity, but something else.
Huge manatee.
Call something specific, but yeah. See,
Yeah. So again,
the other, I believe,
so the two heads snap out at Sophia. One of them catches you on the arm, biting fairly deeply for 5 points of damage and a con save. Again, all that sleeping outdoors must pay off.
Excellent. It was 5, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Agri is up.
And attack the one that Sophia was attacking.
Okay. Even with disadvantage, that is still a hit.
Ooh.
So yeah, you bring the scimitar down, and this thing, it looks like next turn is probably one head's going to focus on you, the other head's going to focus on Sophia.
Okay.
And this one just got another person joined the fray, so it's going to attack Agri and Deacon. So against Agri and against Deacon. I believe a 19. 19
I have a
think.
19.
Yeah, so 19 hits. So it'll be 3 damage and a con save. You are super robust.
Screw that plague beast.
Arathius. The two remaining dogs both look equally damaged.
Well, I'll just go for the same one that I did the first time.
Yeah. Oh, that was the one on Sophia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that hits it and just like rocks it, and it roars out in pain, and now all of its heads are focused on you.
I said this was not the deal.
And that will bring us around to Deacon. Yeah, you can tell it is definitely responding to the magic that you're wielding.
Well, I will stab the one that's directly in front of me then. Or not.
Helena. That's a lot of ones in a row there, guys.
Oh, well, yeah.
So yeah, these things, as the heads are like snapping and snarling and growling, it's starting to get super chaotic, and everybody is having a hard time kind of judging their shot accuracy. Sophia is up.
Oh, that thing is still standing.
Uh-huh.
Spike.
She's going to try to smack it with the hammer again.
Okay.
Having serious doubts about this. Wow. Okay then. I am not my father's daughter.
You can't judge from the fact that we're all growing completely crappy.
So one head is going to snap at Sophia, and one is going to snap at Agri. So Sophia.
Oh, there's the.
Ow.
That's a roll and a half.
Sorry, guys. I didn't get all of his attention.
So that is 10 damage to Sophia and another con save.
Oh dear. Oh no.
Right. And that one, as the like releases the bite, you can see the flesh around that wound already starting to necrotize. You were poisoned, and attacks and ability checks are at disadvantage.
Oh god.
I will remind everyone we do carry a charm of vitality that can fix the problem.
Right after combat.
Probably yes.
Agri is up.
Agri's
Sophia-
gonna move.
Drops to one knee.
Alright. Where would I need to be placed to get advantage for the one that's currently being fought against Deacon?
You need to be about there.
Okay, and now I swing.
Okay. So yeah, so kind of like force your kind of like large centaur like form through that little gap there, and just like turn around and like take a swing at that one. 9 is still gonna miss though, because you're at disadvantage for the poison and then advantage for the thing, so equal roll.
Null is good.
But now Deacon's got possible advantage.
Yep. And that one is going to. It's going to focus on Deacon. So 1 hit for 8 damage and a con save.
Gotcha.
Does it have disadvantage?
No. Alright. You are still fine. You're shrugging off whatever effects this dog saliva have.
Screw your poison!
Arathius, the one over by Sophia is very, very badly hurt. The one by Deacon and Agri, not so much.
I'll try to finish the weak one.
Okay.
Be gone from this plane.
And the flames just erupt around it and take it back from whence it came. That will bring us to Deacon, who now attacks with advantage.
Absolutely. Time for some more spearing. Yeah,
That is good, solid hit. So yeah, you as it looks like it's focused on you, but then it knows it's got something behind it, and one of the head kind of whips around, and you take that opportunity, and you basically jab through the eye of one of the heads, injuring it very severely.
Excellent.
Helena is up. Six will miss. That will bring us to Sophia. It's very much a scrum up there now with a raging barbarian and a two-headed dog and flames going off.
Yeah. She's going to use Guiding Bolt.
Okay.
In hopes that it will be enough and that she can concentrate long enough to cast it. Oh, an 11.
So yeah,
Not so much.
Yeah, at the last minute, the pain kind of like overrides your vision, and your shot just goes wide.
Yep.
That will bring us to Agri.
All right, here we go again. Swing.
Right. So that time the scimitar does connect, like kind of across the back of this dog, slashes it very deeply. Not quite enough to finish it off, but as it turns towards you, it turns very, very slowly. But it is going to lash out at you. I think those are both hits. So 8 becomes 4, and 4 becomes 2, and you're already poisoned, so you don't need to worry about the saves. So yeah, both of the things kind of latch onto you, but you like shrug it off in your rage. Think you broke a tooth when you like shrugged one of them off.
Excellent.
Arathius.
Dang death dogs. Suck, Eldritch Blast.
And with that, the flames again envelop that one and just kind of pull it back to where it came from, completing whatever deal may have been made. But as you guys stand there kind of catching your breath momentarily, you realize that there is something necrotizing the flesh of both Agri and Sophia. the realization that the Cerberus Hound that was unleashed in here as part of Lutheria's curse may have had puppies. And then we will pick it up in 2 weeks.
Ooh-ee-oo.
Ew.
Seems like a convenient place to leave it, with people poisoned and realization that there may be some nastier critters in here.
Just slightly.
Just another Saturday night.
Let's just
It's so bad.